Hi everybody, welcome to my channel. This is Deb from Deb's Way, and I'm really glad to have you here today. It's a beautiful day in Central Florida. It's bright, it's sunny, not too humid, not yet anyway. It's a great day. I was out and around earlier, so I'm ready to get down to some business here at home, take care of some business around the house. And one of those things to take care of is making this little video for you. I decided to do a follow-up to my Do You Remember When video that I did last month. Mainly because I had such good response to that, both in the comments after that video and in emails where people questioned, well, hey, do you remember this? Do you remember that? How about this? And a lot of the things I did remember. Some of the things I'm not familiar with, but a lot of it I was. So I thought I would just continue with another segment here and go over a few more things that really hit home for me. Okay, so bear with me. The number one thing to go over is, do you remember when people would say take care or be good when they ended a conversation with you, whether in public or on the phone? I know for me, I say take care a lot. It just means, hey, yeah, take care of yourselves. See you next time, but take care till then. Okay? I just do that still. And it seems my standard phrase anyway, and when I finish my films and everything is, bye for now. Take care. We'll be talking to you again real soon. Bye for now, though. Bye for now is another one. So I guess I have standard phrases that I say when I'm departing or saying goodbye, or it's not just goodbye, see you around, hasta la vista, whatever, that sort of thing. That's my catchphrase, bye for now. Number 2, do you remember secretaries, the word secretary and what a secretary was? I sure do. I remember my first job. I wasn't a secretary, I was a clerk. But I do remember the secretary who served the company's president. I was just in awe of her position. She was on the second floor of the building. There were only 2 floors of the building, and it was a big building for this small town I grew up in. But she was on the second floor, had a massive office. I mean, people would get off the escalator. We had an escalator, not an elevator. They'd get off the escalator on the second floor, turn to go towards the president's office, and it would open up into a very wide office, almost kind of like a living room in a way. And at the end of that living room office type of thing would be her desk, a big desk, at which she sat outside the president's office. Okay. She was a very nice lady, but you rarely saw her. She was up there at the president's office or at her desk doing the work. But I really was in awe of her position. And I guess nowadays, though, people are basically called office worker or assistant, office assistant. The term secretary is I guess, bygone. Number 3, do you remember when nurses wore white? Yeah. I remember when nurses could only wear dresses, when nurses wore those little caps on their head, that they earned that cap upon graduation from nursing school, and all nurses wore them. It was all white. White hat, white cap, white uniform, a dress, white nylons, white shoes. They were all in white. Okay. And I remember when there were LPNs as well. Nowadays it's basically RNs or CNAs, something like that. They did away with LPN titles in a lot of the hospitals here anyway in Florida. But back when, there were RNs, LPNs, a lot of them. And I'm not sure about the CNA, but LPNs, I know they were there. I, at one point, was interested in becoming an LPN. Little did I know I'd be phased out by now, because I'm not a scientific person. I really didn't get into biology or physics or any of that, so who knows? Who knows? I may have been phased out. Maybe I would have learned enough on the job that I could have progressed into an RN title, I don't know. But that's neither here nor there type of thing. I was never there, so whatever. But yes, I remember when nurses wore white. Number 4, do you remember when people used to, do you remember when people they were allowed to smoke at their desks in the office? I do. Yeah, I remember that. My first office job, you didn't think of anything of it back then, I mean, it was just the way things were. I never smoked, but I seem to always work in offices where there were smokers, and yeah, they had those, at AT&T, they had safety type ashtrays that everybody had at their desk, except me. I didn't need it, so that was fine. But they always had that out on their desk in the morning, first thing in the morning when they got to work. They'd have their coffee and their morning cigarette at the desk, getting prepared for the day type of thing. And then after a while, it got to be that you couldn't smoke at your desk. You had to smoke in the break room, and then it progressed from there as far as, not in the break room anymore, not in the building. You had to leave the building. So they made, and it wasn't really that they made the area a smoking area, but right outside the front door of the office building itself would become the smoking zone. And nowadays, for a lot of businesses, that's no longer proper anymore. You have to, if you're going to smoke outside of work type of thing, outside of the building, you have to leave the building site. And I do remember when I worked at the hospital, they were going through this no smoking policy all over, and people had to not only leave the building, the premises, they had to cross the street and go down a little ways, like 2 blocks down from the hospital in order to have a cigarette. And it's like, I think a lot of people at that point went through some type of a non-smoking, campaign. So anyway, yes, I do remember when people used to smoke at their desk, in the office, wherever they wanted to, okay? Number 5, do you remember knicker knockers? No, I never heard that phrase. I'm assuming what those are. I'm not sure. Maybe I'm way off on this one. But were they something like capris or pedal pushers? I remember pedal pushers, and then that kind of got renamed to capris. And I have a few pairs of capris that I wear here now. They are any type of a slacks that comes to like the knee or a little bit below the knee, kind of mid-calf area. So is that what a knicker knocker is? Not sure. For me though, capris or pedal pushers, they're supposed to be anywhere from just below the knee down to mid-calf, but to me, as short as I am, they were almost like a regular pair of slacks, okay? Almost. But I do like them in Florida because I won't wear shorts out in public, but I'll wear capris. Number 6, do you remember when people hand wrote letters and mailed them off, on a stamped envelope? Yeah, and I still do that. So I remember it very well. But I do remember back in junior high and in high school, I had pen pals. I had pen pals in a few states in the States here, and I had pen pals over seas. I enjoyed writing letters. I loved writing letters. I remember when postage was, now this makes me really sound old when I go back to, I remember when, but I remember when our postage was a nickel, 5 cents. And I don't remember what it raised from there, but I do remember when it was 5 cents. And that was back when I was in high school, or junior high rather. And then I do remember overseas postage was 50 cents. Now it's $1.55. And that's like per half an ounce, I believe. So I enjoy writing letters. I have always enjoyed writing letters, and I prefer to write a letter. My pen friend in England, she does not have a computer. She doesn't want one. And so, yes, we do write letters back and forth yet to this day. And we've been corresponding for 35 years or so. And we have met. She and her husband have been over here a couple of times, and I have been over there a couple of times, so yeah. And I have a few people up in Minnesota yet that I do correspond with every now and then. I don't write letters as much as I used to, that's true, because of the computer, but putting a pen to paper and writing a letter, you know, it gives you something to be excited about in the mail instead of just receiving all the advertisements that you get in the mail and the bills that come and whatever else, you know. To receive a letter every now and then or a nice card is such a pleasure. I look forward to it. So I guess I figure that other people do too. And I'm glad there are still some out there that do like to write letters and send cards. So, number 7. Do you remember cloth diapers? Yes, I do. Now, I never had a family of my own. I never had children of my own. But I did a lot of babysitting, and I changed a lot of diapers there, and also changed diapers for, you know, when I was with my niece and nephews type of thing when they were infants. I do remember the cloth diapers. I do remember when disposable diapers became very popular. And I don't know. I understand how disposable diapers are very handy, very useful. But I guess I understand that there are a lot of modern day mothers that are going back to the cloth diaper idea. And they're very fashionable, they're very chic, and have a lot of different designs to them. They look really cool, actually. Okay. Number 8. Do you remember mood rings? I never had one, but yeah, I remember mood rings. Every time I'd go into the store where I came across a counter that had a display of mood rings, I'd try one on. I really did like them, but I guess I just didn't see the necessity to own one. I would put one on, and it would always be blue or green or a shade in between type of thing. And to me, that was like I was always calm. I was always calm. Okay. You could get other colors too. Oh my gosh. I don't know if you can hear the music. There is an ice cream truck coming around my neighborhood. I live in a cul-de-sac. And there he goes. There are some kids that live at the top of the street, but down on our end of the cul-de-sac, we're just a bunch of old retired people down here. But that's pretty cool. An ice cream truck. Anyway, okay, where was I? Mood rings. Okay. They would go from nice colors, all sorts of colors. Red, black was bad. I was always blue, green, in between type of thing. So I figured, but I always tried them on, okay? I was always curious. What was my mood for the day? What would it tell me? Okay, number 9. How many of you had roller skates where you had a key that you had to tighten the skates to put on your shoe so it would stay on? Yeah, I grew up with that kind of roller skate, and I never went to a roller skating rink when I was younger. We would roller skate on our cement driveways. A lot of the neighborhood houses did have the cement driveways, and we would skate on that. The roads were not paved. They were more rock in my neighborhood, but the driveways, they were paved, and they did just fine. Sidewalks, you know, around our house and that, and the driveways, that's where we roller skated. Number 10, do you remember brush curlers or pink sponge hair curlers? Yeah. I never had the pink sponge curlers. I saw them though. They were out at the time that I used the brush curlers. I was a brush curler girl. And they hurt, you know, because I slept on them. And yeah, you'd put the brush in your hair, and then you'd have to use a pick to stick it in place. And that pick sometimes dug in and it hurt, you know. Yeah, I remember those brush curlers. Number 11. Do you remember outdoor clotheslines? I miss an outdoor clothesline. When I grew up in Kansas, my mother was always putting clothes out on the clothesline to dry. And then when I had my own little house in Minnesota, I had a clothesline. And yes, in the nicer weather, summer, fall, spring, when it wasn't too cold, I would hang my linens especially. I would hang, you know, my lingerie type of thing too. It would smell so nice. I miss being able to hang clothes out because here in Florida, it is so humid most of the time that when you hang out anything outdoors, it takes days for it to dry. So if I hang anything or want to hang something up, it hangs in the house. That's not the same thing. You don't get the fresh air smell. That is such a nice smell. I miss that a lot. Number 12. Remember tent dresses or the empire waist dresses? How about the baby doll dresses? Yeah, that was all during my era when I was a teenager through high school. They were all very fashionable when I was in my teen years. Number 13. Somebody asked me if I remembered troll dolls. I do remember them. I never had one. I know they were a big fad. You know, lots of people loved them. I didn't particularly understand what the fad was all about. I never had one, and I never really wanted one. I think that must have been back in the mid-60s, maybe, early 70s, somewhere around there. Number 14. Did you have, or were you ever, the Avon lady? I was never the Avon lady myself, but yeah, I remember Avon, and I did like a lot of their products. I didn't like a lot of their perfume, though. I don't like a lot of real strong flower-scented perfume. But what was that one? What did they have? That one, is it a bath oil? Or there was one oil that was really good. And yes, it was very nice and had a very nice aroma to it, but it also worked as being a mosquito repellent. Was it something like Skin So Soft? Is that the name of it? But anyway, yeah, I did like that too. I have not seen Avon in years anywhere. I haven't seen an Avon lady or an Avon booklet anywhere in several years. So I don't know, are they still out there? Maybe not, but I do remember them. Number 15. Well, somebody asked if I remembered when we used to have paper dolls to play with. And I do. And I don't remember the style or where they came from, you know, if I had a box of them or what. But before my Revlon look-alike doll came into being, I played with a paper doll. And yes, I had cut out paper clothing that you could, you know, it had little flaps on the clothing that you just kind of bent over the doll to dress the doll. And I had paper dolls, yeah. And they were very nice too. But that was just another form of a doll to play with. Number 16. Remember Barbie dolls? Yeah, I do. Came out in the 60s, I believe. She was like a high fashion looking type of doll. Never had one. I can't say I really wanted one, but I wasn't really heavy into dolls, I guess. But anyway, I never had a Barbie doll. I never had a Revlon doll. Maybe that was the whole thing. I was just kind of burnt out on dolls. Okay, number 17 is, who remembers the Ben Franklin stores or the Woolworth stores or Kresge stores or the Woolco stores? I remember all of them. I know all of them. My mother and I used to work at a Woolworth store back in Minnesota when I was a teenager. and that was a nice big store. They had a lot of variety. All of these stores, they always offered a big variety of goods. Just about anything you can think of, you could get at any one of those stores. Most of all, though, when I was younger, much younger, and it was an allowance day for us kids, we would go to the neighborhood Ben Franklin store. And that's where we would buy our candy and our comic books and whatever else, we could find there for our allowance amount. You could buy comic books for I think it was 3 for a quarter, and that was 3 for 25 cents. I believe they were only like a dime a piece. My favorite comic books at that time were Little Wendy, Richie Rich, Casper the Friendly Ghost, Little Lotta, and I am amazed that I can remember these names, so many years later, but they're coming back. I'm sure I had some other favorites in there too, but those are the ones that I do remember. I never went for the type of sci-fi or detective or, any comic book like that. I preferred the more, what I consider to be the more gentle type of comic books. Okay. I didn't like monster ones. No. Number 18. Remember when it was all the fashion to wear Evening in Paris or Eau de Toilette perfume? Well, I do remember them. I never wore them, but I remember them from the dime stores. If I remember right, it was the Evening in Paris that came in that small dark blue bottle that was so pretty, such a dark shade of blue, and then the silver lid to the bottle. It was a lovely looking bottle, but I wasn't really too keen on the scent. My type of scent is very mild, I would call it. When I wore perfumes before, when I was a teenager and a young adult, I would wear things like Chantilly, Taboo, Ambush, those kind of scents. Very light, a very light scent. Some of the Avon scents back then were floral scented. I would go some of them, but not all of them. The real light scents though, and I would put it on just real gently. And nowadays though, every now and then I'll wear Obsession. I don't wear a lot of perfumes or scents. I kind of got away from that when I was in the phase where I trained and showed dogs for a while. And ever since that time, because you don't want to wear a lot of scents to cover up. If you train your dog for obedience and scent training, you don't want to cover that up with a bunch of perfumey smelling hands or you type of thing. So I got away from wearing perfume when I was in the dog show hobby. Okay, number 19. Do you remember hula hoops? Yeah, they were a lot of fun. I used to have several, but I never really got the real small ones. The bigger ones came out first, and then they had different sizes of that. And then they went smaller ones that you did your arms with or worked on your arms, but I never had that size. I enjoyed doing a hula hoop. You could use it as a rope, like skipping rope. You could use it as a hula hoop that it was supposed to be used for. It was like a sport. All the kids in the neighborhood had a hula hoop. Okay, and number 20. Dun, da, da. That's the last one I've got. Do you remember 8-track, cassettes, LPs, and 45s? Yes to all of the above. I do. I remember them very well. You know what I'm talking about? Yeah, I think a lot of you do. Through the years, I've had them all. Aren't I special? But anyway, unfortunately, 8 tracks, if you have any, how do you play them? Does your machine, if you had a machine, still work? I don't have anything like that. I don't have any 8 tracks. Cassettes, I do still have some of them. I don't have any means to play it that I know of. No. CDs, yes. That's what I have now. It's just CDs and a few LPs. Long playing records. Unfortunately, I did not keep my LP records from when I was growing up, when I was a teenager and really into collecting you know, records from the Beatles and the other groups that I liked, that I enjoyed. I, through the years, through attrition, either got rid of them or gave them away or sold them at garage sales type of thing. I didn't keep one of them, and I wish I would have. I really wish I would have. 45s, I didn't really have a lot of 45s, but yeah, same thing. I wish I would have kept them. I wish I would have hung on to them. But oh well, you know, what's that saying? Wish I coulda, woulda, wish. I don't know how it goes, but anyway, you know what I'm talking about. Well, and the long playing records especially are coming back into fashion now, and I do have a few of them that I've collected over the last year or so. I don't have a lot of long playing records, but I have a small collection to play on my little record player back here. And I do play that every now and then. So, well, that is it for this round of Do You Remember When? Now, if there are any of you out there that have any other moments of recollection and want to compare notes, just let me know. Put it in the comments below, send me an email, whatever, however you want to do it. And I'll go over it in a later video probably, okay? I had fun doing that because it brings back memories to me that are very good, very fond memories of my growing up. And when I remember these things, yeah, it brings back the memories of when I played with them, what I did with them, you know, where I was, you know, when I had them or wore them or did them or whatever, listened to them. So, good times. It brings back memories of good times. But anyway, I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you'll comment and let me know if there's anything else you want to recall or have me think about. And if you haven't subscribed to my channel, please do so. Click that like button, hit the subscribe button, and come on back for another round. But I'll be talking to you again real soon, okay? That's going to be bye for now.